Hello everybody. This is the first in the series of my stories about the human brain. I've already told you that I want you to understand that your brain is one of the most amazing and complicated and marvelous pieces of equipment that you'll ever have. It has all come about, as far as my understanding of these things, through my experience with Mother. When Mother finally had this Alzheimer's explosion back in 2011, I decided to commit myself to begin to study and understand the disease. But in understanding the disease, you have to understand the brain, because if you don't understand your brain, you'll not realize why the disease is so cruel and what it does to great and brilliant people. And we've seen many, many stories. We all know the story of Stephen Hawking. Stephen's problem had everything to do with his body breaking down, but the brain was brilliant. And there are other individuals that have gone through that as well. People with muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, cerebral palsy, other types of debilitating diseases that primarily affect individuals from a physical standpoint of view as far as their motor skills are concerned. But the thing that's tragic about it for them is that their brains continue to operate and understand, and they know what's happening to them, and it's terrible, it's horrible, it's painful. It creates an agony in them, so they suffer emotionally as well as physically. Alzheimer's victims, in reality, usually have very, very good health. My mother, for example, is robust, physically speaking. She can walk many, many miles. She is able to lift things, do things, take care of herself. She can run a bath. She can even help with cooking and things of that sort to a certain degree. I've watched this process. But the thing about it is that Mother's mind is deteriorating. And this is a woman that was brilliant. So when you begin to understand your brain in terms of Alzheimer's, remember this. Everything about your operation in your body, as to its functions, your senses, the system that sends signals to your body to help your, like this right here, this is an instruction from the brain to move my muscles so I can create gestures. Also too, my eyes are working. I'm seeing everything around me. Now I may not be able to see you because this is on camera, but the point is I can see the camera, I can see the room, I can hear the sound of the air conditioner with my ears, I can sense the temperature in the room with my senses, and I even know the taste in my mouth. I just had a great cup of coffee and I'm looking forward to having another sip of it. But the point I'm trying to make is this. You need to know that your brain is an incredible piece of equipment. Your brain is composed, I'm going to give you a statistic. Want to guess how many neurons, that's what they call brain cells. You want to guess how many neurons are in the average, normal, healthy brain? I'll give you a moment to think. 100 billion. I'll repeat that. 100 billion. You have 100 billion neurons, which are like tiny little supercomputers. Every one is holding information and has a specific responsibility. Then those neurons are posted into lobes. Those lobes are groups of cells with specific operational responsibilities. They're connected to the central nervous system. The central nervous system is your action system as well as your reaction system. When you receive stimuli, temperature, pain, anger, flight, fear, knowledge, smell, views, anything, it's a plethora of stuff. The body is receiving that information, and every single nanosecond is stored in the neurons, connecting those neurons so that that information goes to the proper location or comes from the proper location and gets to where it needs to in the body are synapses. Synapses are firing signalers. They signal. They fire the information comes to them, they fire it to the body. The brain does all the work. The synapses, you want to know how many of those there are? If you got 100 billion brain cells, you have 100 trillion synapses. I'm not talking crazy jingoistic science fiction. This is fact. This is fact. Now, imagine someone who has lived a full and successful life. Someone that is near and dear to you, a loved one. They have always been sharp, brilliant, knowledgeable. They may not be a genius, but they have tremendous skills and capacity, and they have served, they have been taking in like a sponge knowledge and then putting that back out there in their life and in the lives of the people that they meet. And imagine a disease that creates substances which leach into the brain itself and choke the life out of each and every single computer, those little neurons. And over time, the brain dies. Point to point to point to point. Alzheimer's is a cruel disease. I don't take it lightly. I don't take it lightly for a number of reasons. My mother had a family that was ravaged by it. Her mother died of Alzheimer's. She had a sister and 3 brothers that all were afflicted with Alzheimer's and eventually died. Mom has it. Other members of her family and cousins have it as well. I could have it. So I need to remember, knowing about Alzheimer's and knowing some of the things that can help me fight it is vital. And that's what I wanted to share with you. But you need to understand your brain. And the other thing too is caregivers, you need to know what's going on. Because if you understand what's going on, you're going to learn the importance of patience, and you're going to steel yourself emotionally for what you're going to watch, because it's not fun to see what Alzheimer's does. So when we get together the next time, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the process and how Alzheimer's begins to take away from the brain some of the most important memories that could ever be. But for now, thanks for giving me the opportunity to share this information with you. It's a pleasure. Think about yourself. Think about those you love. And begin to notice what you've been missing.